Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when it falls apart for the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So when you were in the narcissistic relationship, remember, the narcissist did some very peculiar or odd or strange things. They behaved in ways that you were not accustomed to, and they said things that you had never heard before, and you experienced things that you never thought you would experience. And these were just indications, they were just cracks in the mask, if you will, of the narcissist not being able to control themselves and not regulate themselves, because the narcissist does need people. They need people to be there for them, and so that they can abuse these people or manipulate them, whatever you want to say, into doing whatever the narcissist wants. Essentially, the narcissist cannot be alone by themselves. That is why they can't sit still. That is why they need smartphones, multiple smartphones, and that's why they're always on the go. But remember, when you were back in the relationship, you experienced some of these things. And back then, you didn't know what narcissism was. You didn't know what a rage fit was. You didn't know what triangulation was, or gaslighting, or the smear campaign. You did not know what a radical acceptance was, which meant that's how you had to heal post-narcissistic relationship, which is for a whole different video. But all these terms and the definitions on not only narcissism, but the healing path, these are instrumental in your success, in your healing, in your breaking free from the narcissistic relationship. But all of the baggage from that relationship, remember, it was all the baggage of the narcissist that they were dumping on you. And eventually, what happens with the narcissist, specifically the aging narcissist, although it is not exclusive to them, is things go sideways for these people. And they go sideways for them when they least expect it many times. Example, let's say that you were in the relationship with the narcissist, and let's say that the relationship ended however it ended. My heart goes out to you, because if you were discarded, it's challenging to say the least. And if you had to remove yourself, you had to develop an exit plan, which I will create a video on that probably this week. But either way, you had to get out of that, because you knew that the weight of the relationship was falling upon your shoulders, and the narcissist wasn't lifting a finger to do anything to help you or to do anything to contribute to the relationship. They were simply just sitting on the sidelines watching your life implode, and they were peppering you with abuse and manipulation, and they were probably financially abusing you, maybe physically abusing you, spiritually abusing you, emotionally abusing you, every way possible. But what happened is all of those toxic behaviors that you experienced, they were coming from one source, from one person, which was the narcissist. And the narcissist is a master manipulator. They know what they're doing. So if anybody ever questions, well, does the narcissist really know what they're doing? Yeah, they do. They breathe the same air as us. They wake up in the morning just like we do. They have a decision each and every day to stand for goodness or not to. And most times they choose not to. Unless it benefits them, then they will choose goodness. Example, donating money to a charity and posting it all over social media, etc. But what I'm sharing here is when you were removed from that relationship, the narcissist most likely went on to a new supply, because they thought that the grass would be greener, and they thought that that new supply would be able to provide things for them or elevate their life to a level that you could not elevate their life to. Or maybe you did, and they just got jaded and bored and they wanted the new shiny object, or both. But many times the narcissist's new supply turns out to be another narcissist or a toxic person. Most times they're not an empath. Most times these people are either recycled, or they are people that are caught up in the trauma bond and believing in the mask of the narcissist. We now know that most times the narcissist does wear a mask, and they want to manipulate unsuspecting, naive people into falling for the mask and to dropping everything that they were doing and put all of their attention on the narcissist, essentially building up the narcissist to the detriment of their own lives. That's what you do. You become an extension of the narcissist. You lose your identity. You become a walking apology. You become a sounding board. You become the unpaid helper. You become everything that the narcissist needs you to be, but what you don't become is who you are meant to be. You can't find that out until the relationship is over and you've healed and you've reached that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, when you no longer care about the narcissist or any people from that period of time. But as I'm mentioning here, things will change for the narcissist. Things will not be as glued together as they were when they were with you throughout most of that relationship. They will fall apart for the narcissist. And when this happens, I will tell you right now, it is not a pretty sight to see, because the narcissist many times is in disbelief that their very poor choices throughout life, which included ending the relationship with you, will come back to haunt them. Because the narcissist, what they do is they go through life and they collect people's hearts, they collect people's relationships, they collect people's broken dreams, hopes, aspirations. And the narcissist believes that nobody will ever figure them out, that nobody will see behind the mask, that most people that they were in the relationship with won't heal. But that's not you. You have seen behind the mask. You know that narcissism is prevalent, and now you have healed, or you are well on the healing path headed towards that pinnacle of indifference. But when things fall apart for the narcissist, they will be in disbelief because maybe they didn't get that promotion or that pay raise, or they didn't inherit that money from their brother or sister, from their parent, because their brother or sister outmaneuvered them and hoodwinked them and pulled one over on them. Or maybe the narcissist's looks are fading right now, and there's no amount of makeup or lipo that they can do to have themselves look like they're 10, 20, 30 years younger these days, because now they're falling apart because overusage of lipo or whatever cosmetic surgeries you want to talk about. Well, we know how those turn out sometimes. The narcissist is always running from themselves. They're running from people. They're running from their identity. They're running from their existence. That is why every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. And eventually, for the narcissist, they too will figure out or find out that things will fall apart for them. Because as time passes, more and more people are becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered. And they no longer are tolerating these poor behaviors of the narcissist or people that are toxic. Because the word is spreading and people are really understanding their value and their worth. Specifically for this little part of the video, if you're an empath, most likely you didn't even know what empathy was most of your life. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I did. I've always known I've been an empath since I was a really little kid. And I always thought that most people had the level of empathy that I possess. They don't. Most people have absolutely not even a little bit of empathy. Let's put it like that. Or I'll rephrase that. Most people have empathy, but they may not have it to such a high degree. But when the narcissist saw you, they sensed your level of empathy. They looked at you and said, are you a people pleaser? Are you a yes person? Do you have boundaries? Are you going to believe in the mask? Can I bully you around? Can I get what I need from you? Can I crumble you up like a sheet of paper and throw you away in the freeway when the relationship is over, in my eyes, when I found a new source of supply? These are all the things that the narcissist does. And what they want to do is they want to always be in control of virtually every relationship that they are and or were a part of. That is exactly why, again, I've mentioned this recently so frequently on videos. If the narcissist came back and hoovered you, or attempted to draw you back into the relationship, or maybe they just sent you a text that said hi, or something like that, or an email, or left something on your front doorstep, etc. What do you think they're doing? They're so desperate that they're trying to get you back in line. They're trying to get you back to fall into that relationship, perhaps, or maybe they're just trying to rattle your healing path, or both. The point being is the narcissist has a sixth sense. They know what's going on, and they can tell when people are beginning to catch on to them. And that is when they usually go on to a new source of supply. But many times when they do that, that's when things begin to fall apart. Because let's say the new supply is not somebody who doesn't have boundaries. In other words, they do have boundaries. And maybe they were just playing the narcissist. Well, who gets discarded there? The narcissist at times. Or maybe this other person, they don't know what the narcissistic abusive cycle is, but they know something's off, and they are wise enough to say, hey, I don't want to enter this relationship, and they pull back. So the narcissist's new supply is now kiboshed, and they have to go on the hunt again. And maybe it takes them longer than they're accustomed to. Maybe in the past when they were younger, it would take them a couple weeks to find a new supply. Maybe now it's taking half a year, maybe more. And what does the narcissist have to do? Then they have to stay on social media, creating fake identities and fake accounts to be spying on their old sources of supply or to entrap new sources of supply. But things fall apart for the narcissist. Their age, as they age, their health takes a hit, just like yours will. And I hope it doesn't, but we all experience health issues at times, and their looks fade. And the thing is with them is they can't wrap their head around how they don't look in the mirror and see themselves when they were 20 years old. Maybe they look at themselves and they see a much older version of themselves. So what do? Maybe they dye their hair and wear colors or clothes of a younger generation. Now I get it. Other people do that too. I understand that. I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about the toxic narcissistic person who needs to get supply from their clothes, from the people they work with, from the friends they have, from former relationships, from their moms, dads, aunts, uncles, brothers, from their children. Things will fall apart for the narcissist. Let's talk about the children. The children of the narcissist eventually grow up and they become adults. And what do? Well, if they didn't turn out to be a narcissist themselves, most of these, or many of these people, have given their parents so many opportunities to change or to be a good person that eventually they get burned out and they block them, or maybe they relocate to a different city, state, town, country, because they can't take it anymore. And they realize that their parent is getting worse and that things are falling apart for them. And the narcissist, who is the parent, is trying to guilt the child, who is adult now, into seeing them or spending time with them. And why don't you do this? I gave you life, etc. Well, the adult child now realizes, I can't do this. This is my life. I've been there for you. I've been doing everything for you for X number of years. And all you're doing is bullying me into doing more for you, or guilting me into doing things for you. Things will fall apart for the narcissist. Now, again, this video isn't a doom and gloom video wishing for anyone's life to implode. We already know that our lives took a big hit when our relationship with the narcissist ended. No matter how it ended, it wasn't fun. It was a very challenging experience, to say the least. Maybe you had to experience the dark night of the soul. You certainly found out quickly that your network of friends disappeared. You also found out that you were isolated and alone on an island, and maybe you were even trapped in your own house or apartment or condo or city. You also knew rather quickly that this relationship, when it ended, it was something you had to heal from. It wasn't just like you could just read a book or watch a video and in a couple days you're as good as new. It doesn't work that way. The healing path is not linear. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. But in your time, you will heal if you utilize the tools that are provided for you on the channel. And understand something: where you are now is not where you will be in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, and in 12 months. Continue to move forward each and every day, and understand that things will go sideways for the narcissist if they have not already. Now, again, I said this earlier, I'll say it again. I don't wish ill will upon anybody, and you shouldn't either. And honestly, you shouldn't be paying attention to the narcissist or the new supplier or any of that. Once you get the wisdom and apply the tools and you've gone no contact, blocked them, deleted them, removed all flying monkeys and people associated with them. When you do that, you understand that your energy returns to yourself, and that things will fall apart for the narcissist, because that's the nature of being a narcissist. They always overplay their hand. They always think they're the smartest person in the room. They always think that nobody will figure them out. They always think that they can just go on to somebody new and that they can hoodwink or manipulate that person into getting what they want. But that's not what happens. Many times, let's say you're divorcing the narcissist, many times the narcissist won't even lift a finger in the divorce proceedings. Why? Well, 2 reasons there, and there are many more, but 2 would be: 1, because they want to drag it out as long as possible and make you squirm, and number 2, because they believe they're above the law. They believe nothing's going to happen to them. They believe life to them has no consequences, and that is why when these people were younger, they developed the way they developed, because there is and or was no consequence for their poor behavior. The rules didn't apply to them, and that was reinforced many times by their parent or parents or the people that were bringing them up. This is exactly how the cycle continues. It goes around and around, and it will always go around until it doesn't. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So in the meantime, you need to remove yourself from these relationships. You need to understand that your time, your energy, everything about you is invaluable. It's so precious, and you gave yourself to that narcissistic relationship for a period of time, and then, like I mentioned, it ended, because every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. But you found the needle in a haystack. You have healed. You have put yourself back together. You're learning, you're growing, you're teaching if you can. You're becoming awakened and aware. And you are now taking a class, teaching a class, reading a book, writing a book. You're traveling. Your health has returned. Your finances have returned. You've fallen in love again if you want to. You've created new friendships. You've moved. You've rebuilt your life. You're doing everything. What is the narcissist doing? They're just looking at the next person who they can take from. They're looking at the next person who doesn't know that narcissism is prevalent. They're looking for the next person who will believe in the mask. And that mask, as the narcissist ages, it gets less and less firm, less and less tight on their face, because they cannot sustain the relationships the way they used to. That is why, again, and I created a whole series on this, a whole playlist called The Aging Narcissist. You should check it out. That's why these people are about as nasty as anybody, because they really believe that the world owes them things. They really believe that their immediate family members, if they're still talking to them, owe them. They believe that past relationships should just flock right back to them. They believe in the glory old days when they could just snap their fingers and manipulate whoever they wanted to. Those days are long over, they're past. And when things fall apart for the narcissist, it is what you would describe as a very big narcissistic injury. Now, I don't mention that term on the channel that frequently. This may be the 2nd or 3rd time I've ever mentioned it. But this is what happens to the narcissist when things fall apart. They can't wrap their head around that things don't go the way that they planned them out in their tiny little brain. but things always go sideways with each and every one of us. And if you've made it this far in the video, you know that when you were in the relationship, things went sideways with your relationship, but you did something the narcissist can't do. You've introspected, you've been accountable, you've processed things, you understood that you were manipulated and taken advantage of, and now you have boundaries. When the narcissist realizes that things are falling apart for them, they can't do any of those things. All they do is they go to the back of the drawing board and try to figure out what manipulating techniques they can use on another person or a former person, or how to draw someone back in that they haven't communicated with in 10 or 15 years. Because the narcissist wants to recycle people many times also. Because the narcissist doesn't just need supply from romantic relationships. They get it from anything, from a pet, from a car, from money, from sending an email, from receiving an email, from a Hoover, from sitting next to someone on a plane or a train or an automobile. The narcissist gets supply from anywhere, from disrupting a dinner, from not attending a wedding, from attending a funeral. The supply possibilities for the narcissist are endless. The thing with you is you need to understand that you are no longer supply. Like I mentioned in so many videos, you're a beautiful, bright, shining light. You are not supply. You're not Clorox or a wipey. That's what you were to the narcissist when you're in that relationship with them, but that's not what you are now. And I've never seen you that way, and I have never seen myself that way. We're beautiful, bright, shining lights, and we are the abundant people that the narcissist tried to extinguish, but they did not succeed. And they will never succeed with you, because now you're healing and you're understanding your value. Then remember this before I close the video. Things will always go sideways for the narcissist. They just won't admit it to you. So let's take social media for a quick moment. Back when you were with the narcissist, I'm sure that they were posting all pictures on the internet of puppies and rainbows, and they were posting all the selfies of themselves when you were in a relationship with them, and they were posting trips that they went on or didn't, and how beautiful their life was. Okay, well, we now know that that's just a front. It's a fraud. It's a trap. It's meant to lure in people to think that the narcissist is living their best life. They aren't. They weren't when you were in the relationship with them. It's not happening now, and it won't happen in the future. The narcissist in one word is hollow. The narcissist in a second word is fake. And the narcissist in the third word is nothing but a big filter. They're nothing but a selfie filter, trying to portray themselves one way to the general public and the outside world, when in fact you know that they're nothing but empty vessels. There's nothing to them. So this is exactly how it is for the narcissist. Eventually, things fall apart. Eventually, using 10, 15, 30 filters on a picture of themselves will never work for them. Eventually, people wise up and remove themselves from these people. And eventually, the narcissist is left by themselves, desolate, isolated. And all of the punishment that they've dished out throughout their life will come back to haunt them. If it hasn't already, it will. Believe me when I tell you. There's a big price to pay when you abuse people. There's a big price to pay when you take advantage of people. And there's a big price to pay with a higher power above. Now, all these things I'm sharing with you, you probably won't be around to see or hear or learn about any of those things, and my hope is you're not. But just know one thing: you've broken free from the relationship. You're healing, or you've healed, and you are now in the third version of yourself, the strongest, most galvanized version of yourself known to humankind. The narcissist is still themselves. They are the exact same person. They can't grow. The only thing they do is they take the best from people and leave them with nothing. And they go on to the next supply and next supply and next supply. But eventually the supply sources do run out and they do dry up. And the narcissist is left in their tiny little pea brain in the middle of the night looking for supply on a smartphone. And what happens? The battery dies. And that is exactly how it goes for the narcissist. Eventually, things go sideways for them, and eventually things do and will fall apart for the narcissist. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. And I want to mention to you guys, remember, where you are today is not where you will be in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Continue on the path moving forward each and every day. Continue believing in yourself. Continue knowing that I believe in you more than you will ever know. And continue to know that you are an amazing, beautiful, bright, shining light. You deserve the best in this world. You deserve to live a narcissistic-free life without drama, without chaos, without abuse, and without people taking what is yours. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, one-on-one sessions, drop an email at narcdailyvideos@gmail.com. I have openings. All right, I love you guys. Bye.